Before we get into today's show, a question for you guys. How many years have you been a Cowboys fan? For life is a very valid answer, but let me know in the comments of today's show. The Mike Vrabel to the Cowboys rumors are once again here, this time via ESPN. Vrabel is a very hot head coaching candidate for understandable reasons, along with Ben Johnson. Probably going to have some of the most interest in those two players across the NFL. ESPN, once again discussing him, linking three different teams. The Dallas Cowboys, the Las Vegas Raiders, in part because of the obvious presence of Tom Brady, and the Ohio State Buckeyes, his alma mater. Now here's what ESPN's Dan Graziano said on Vrabel. Said, quote, Mike Vrabel's name is buzzy ahead of the coaching carousel. Some believe the former Titans coach would be a candidate in Dallas if the Cowboys move on from Mike McCarthy. However, Jerry Jones continues to say nice things about McCarthy, but he's yet to extend his contract, which expires after this upcoming season. Now, of note, those are the three names linked by ESPN. Those are not the only jobs open that could potentially be a destination for Mike Vrabel. The Saints, which I think is a little bit less so, but the Bears and Giants have both been linked to Vrabel. The different reporting, Albert Breer says that he thinks Vrabel is going to be high atop the Bears list. I wonder if they're going to be all in on an offensive mind almost no matter what to maximize Caleb Williams. And then the New York Jets are very much linked. There's some ties there from previous games. They interviewed John Robinson for the GM, who was the Titans GM. The Jets might have Vrabel high up on his list. I wonder what Vrabel's list looks like. There was some interesting comments made by Dan Orlovsky that certainly indicate that he thinks Vrabel knows where he wants to be, at least. Assuming Mike McCarthy gets fired, would you hire Mike Vrabel as the Dallas Cowboys head coach? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. In fact, it's the pinned comment on today's video. That ad comes here on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there. Why for yes and for no? Mike Vrabel had a lot of success with Tennessee. Now, that success did kind of trail off at the end of his tenure where there were roster issues, there was organizational disagreement issues as well. But I think if you're being objective about the potential candidates, from a pure resume perspective, Mike Vrabel very much stands out there. Now, that doesn't include being willing and able to gamble on more of the unknown, which this team needs to do. And if you do hire Mike Vrabel, the offensive coordinator hire matters. Make no mistake about that. It worked when it was Matt LaFleur, when it was Arthur Smith. Didn't work as well when it was Todd Downing and company. That should not be overlooked. Hiring the right offensive coordinator, make no mistake about it, is going to be essential if the Cowboys or any team hires Mike Vrabel or any non-offensive-minded head coach. Now, Albert Breer, and this was initially framed as like what he is like sourcing, and then he kind of backed it off as his opinion, which starts to make some more sense. He mentioned Josh McDaniels and Tommy Rees as two different potential coordinator candidates along or under Mike Vrabel. McDaniels makes some sense, right? There's the Patriot Way connection there. I don't know if I want Josh McDaniels. That kind of feels like a dangerous path. Tommy Rees is once I heard it, it made a little bit more sense to me. He is on staff right now with the Browns, where Vrabel is technically working as an advisor as well. Rees was a college offensive coordinator, Notre Dame to Alabama. Kind of got the short end of the stick in the Nick Saban retirement because, they hire Kalen DeBoer, brings in his own offensive coordinator. Rees ends up falling to the Cleveland Browns. He was allegedly the runner-up to the UNC job behind Bill Belichick, by the way. But there's some Kellen Moore vibes there for good and for bad, which some of you guys might not like hearing. But you got to get that OC hire right. Rees is the mystery box candidate to an extent, but I don't know if I want to go down the Josh McDaniels. And that's all hypothetical, but that's the conversations you're going to have that are critical if you're hiring not an offensive play caller to be your next head coach. Now, today's show is made possible by Zbiotics. The holidays are here, and if you are like me, you don't quite rebound the same way on January 1st maybe you used to. That is, until we came across Zbiotics. They are the makers of the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. Pre-alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that is to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to help feel your best the next day. Stay in the loop and go to Zbiotics.com/chatsports. You can also scan the QR code on screen to get 15% off first order when you use code ChatSports at checkout. You can get a subscription so you can stay prepared no matter the occasion. There's a 100% money-back guarantee as well. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to do Zbiotics.com/chatsports and use the code ChatSports, CHATSPORTS, at checkout for 15% off. A big thank you to Zbiotics for sponsoring our show and our good times here at the Cowboys Report. Couple injury updates, some good news, bad news here. First, the bad news, so you can end on a happier note. Maybe. Mike McCarthy saying he does not expect DeMarcus Lawrence to return from his foot injury this week. That's unfortunate. It's another reason why I don't trust the Cowboys with injuries. They've been very weird with the Trayvon Diggs stuff, by the way. Not sure I believe their timelines. At this point, I don't think we see DeMarcus Lawrence play at all this year. There's going to be 2 games left. You may or may not be, we'll talk about it more in depth in a minute, officially out of the playoff race. Even if you beat the Bucs, your playoff probability jumps from less than 1% to like 1%, 2%. It's just there's so much that has to go your way for it to happen. It's pretty much impossible. And I want to make this point very clear too. Why did Jerry Jones say they were going to get DeMarcus Lawrence back for the Bengals game? Like, you beat the Giants on Thanksgiving. You're all excited. We're going to get Tank Lawrence back. Now you don't. Was there a setback? Or were the Cowboys selling false hope on injuries as they've done many a times before? This also makes his free agency a question mark. When DeMarcus Lawrence has played, he has been an impactful player. He has been a fantastic run defender. For how many years we said he's like their only good front 4 player at defending the run. The sack numbers haven't been where you wanted them to be, but he's always been good about stepping up on third downs, combining with Micah Parsons, being a net positive football player. I don't know what his contract's going to look like now, having not played really at all this season. At his age and his injury history, those are all very real red flags. It also might allow for a potential re-signing. And if you could hypothetically bring back some combination of DeMarcus Lawrence and Chauncey Golston and Carl Lawson along with Micah Parsons and Marshawn Nealand and keep 2 out of 3 of those guys and get Sam Williams healthy, that's a pretty good spot at defensive end if they can stay healthy. So would you re-sign DeMarcus Lawrence? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Some possible hopium, but better news on DeMarvion Overshown. He's undergone his knee surgery for that multi-ligament tear. Now, Jordan Schultz reports the Cowboys, or at least the hope in general, is for a mid to late season return next year. That would not cost him all of the 2025 campaign. And given where we're already at, that would be the best case outcome, to get Overshown back at some point next year. And I would love to get him back. He was going to be a Pro Bowl player this year. He had been playing some incredible football. But I do want to emphasize this, not just for us as fans, for the Cowboys organization. You got to be patient here. This was a bad knee injury. This was not good. It was all kinds of injuries. You know, Terrence Steele tore a bunch of ligaments too, came back crazy quick. I don't think that should be the expectation goal for DeMarvion Overshown. You got to be patient here. You cannot rush him back. It's back-to-back years with a torn ligament in his knee, the same knee. That's a lot to come back from. So you have to be patient here. Do not rush him back. And to an extent, you got to protect the player from himself. You know, everyone's been saying how energetic and how positive Overshown has been in the locker room since the injury. That's great. He wants to get back out there. That's even better. Protect him from himself. Do not let him overdo it. This is where you got to be the adult in the room. Sounds kind of weird, but you have to make sure you're taking care of the best long-term interest for your young player. Some adjustments to our Cowboys Report live schedule. Not only will we be live for the Sunday night football game, we will also be live for the Texas-Clemson game. Myself and Stone Shields are going to be doing Texas Clemson on the Chat Sports YouTube channel, followed up by Ohio State, Tennessee on our State channel and the Chat Sports channel. Not going to be live for SMU Penn State. Sorry, guys. So we're going to simulcast the Texas Clemson watch party onto the Cowboys stream. Tune in. We'll do some raffles. We'll do some giveaways. Hit that sub button at youtube.com/CowboysTV. Let's wrap up with just a general overlook at playoff hopes and tanking dreams and all kinds of stuff that's going on here. The Cowboys are still technically alive in the NFL playoff race. The current probability is a less than 1% chance. It is not looking good, and it very much comes off of a matter of when, not if, the Cowboys are eliminated. Here's their elimination scenarios. If one of these things happen, they're out. See you later. If the Cowboys lose the Bucks, it's good night, Charlie. They are not making the postseason. If the Commanders beat the Eagles, the Cowboys are eliminated. Even if the Cowboys beat Tampa and the Commanders beat Philadelphia, or the Eagles beat the Commanders to avoid that scenario, the playoff probability stays at like less than 1%. So you're still hoping for a miracle in the end, because this is the current playoff picture. The Saints are alive only because of the NFC South race, by the way. You are currently 2 games back of the Commanders and fighting for your lives as best as possible. 3 games back. And you got 3 games to go. You need all kinds of luck to go your way. The scenario that exists is kind of these things. You have to win out, and the Commanders must lose out. That gives you the headed tiebreaker over Washington. You then also need either the Falcons to lose to Giants and Panthers. So, again, you need the perfect Falcons scenario. They go loss, win, loss. Or if the Falcons, fall apart and the Falcons win some games, you then need the Bucks to lose to either Carolina or the Saints. So you're asking for 1 and 2 results out of the NFC South with the Giants, Saints, and Panthers twice involved. Oh, by the way, also, almost all of the NFC West has to finish 9-8 or worse. Only one team can be better than that because you will lose tiebreakers there too. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. There's so much that has to go your way. There's just no way. Even if you win out, independent of all the other results, factoring in those odds of what's probably going to happen, it's a 5% chance. No, it's not going to happen. A top 10 pick, by the way, is not out of the cards either. That is still a possibility and a better chance than you making the postseason. So regardless if you want to beat the Bucks or not, here is your draft pick rooting guide for this week's games. You are cheering for the Bengals over the Browns. You're 3 games back of the Browns. You are tied and losing for now a tiebreaker against the Cincinnati Bengals. So you want the Bengals to win. The Colts over the Texans. You are tied with the Colts. You want the upset so that you can jump them because you have a harder strength of schedule. Saints over the Packers. You're a game back of them with not a massive difference in the strength of schedule there. But are the Saints going to be the Packers? Probably not. This one was tough for me because you're tied with both the Dolphins and Niners. Dolphins have a significantly easier strength of schedule. That's why they're 11. The Niners are 15. So you want the Dolphins to beat the Niners to help your potential tiebreakers there. You do want the Falcons over the Giants. By the way, I know that hurts your playoff stuff, but you cannot catch the Giants. It is impossible. You are 1 game ahead of Atlanta. You want some more space there. Bears over the Lions. You're 2 games back, but they've collapsed. They've lost 8 in a row. Good luck. Jets over Rams because the Jets are 4-10, so you can technically catch them maybe. And then I went ahead and asterisk Cardinals over Panthers. You're 3 games back of Carolina, so you can technically have enough chaos to catch them. It just seems really unlikely, and only a game ahead of the Cardinals. I figured that was your better value, so to speak.